Humping, would we? You would never. Right. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
It has. Long overdue.
Long overdue.
But we kind of wanted to do this podcast for a while, and then we were like, oh, actually, I don't know whether we need to. People probably won't even be that bothered, and it turns out some people are bothered.
Yeah.
Hello. You're not bothered, are you?
Theo's not bothered.
No, don't.
Theo might
Knock you over at some point.
Might get involved. Or you might just be hearing him panting until he settles. But yeah, this might be short and sweet. Might go on for a while. We might have to do a part 2.
Yeah.
Who knows? We've this has obviously been a conversation that we've been conversing for a very long time.
And we do feel like we've had the same conversation now
with a lot of people.
With a lot of people. So we thought it would just be easier to have one conversation together and put it out.
Yeah, and be like, hopefully the answers to all your questions are
in our podcast.
This podcast. So if you really want to know the answers,
yeah,
rather than just messaging us horrible things.
Yeah, we've had a lot of nice messages as well.
We have.
And for those of you that don't know what on earth we're going on about, we recently started using e-collars in some of our training, primarily for recall, and it's been a bit of a journey, like both of us, like kind of, we've had our own individual journeys and obviously our joint journey. We work most cases together, and just in terms of our own dogs as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, when would you say the journey started for you? When did you become like more curious? A couple of years for you, isn't it? When you went
More
to see...
than a couple.
Yeah.
I think when I got involved in GRC, most dog sports, to be fair, are primarily a balanced place to be. Like
Yeah.
in more balanced side of methodology.
Yeah, I'd say so. And by balanced, again, for those that don't know, we won't go into like...
Yeah, this isn't
a
going to be
whole,
like...
lesson on everything, but it's basically people that would use all types of training, so all of the 4 quadrants. So whilst they might positively reinforce the dog for doing things that they like and they want to see more of, they might also punish a dog if a dog is doing something they want to see less of, or they might negatively reinforce a dog if they want to see more of a behaviour, but that does usually involve some pressure still. So so that is, I suppose the definition of being a balanced trainer is that you don't just reserve yourself to one of the quadrants.
Yeah. So when I started getting more interested in GRC, a lot of the trainers that I've quietly settled, but also might bash over the table.
Literally resting on the table.
Yeah. So I was exposed to more trainers that were training in a different way than I did.
Because your background was initially rescue.
My background is rescue and primarily force-free or positive reinforcement only. I feel so weird about like using labels and stuff now. Like I really, even though it feels even a bit cliche to be like, I don't want to put myself in a box, but because although it's just a lot more complex and nuanced than that. Because yes, I might say I'm positive reinforcement only or force-free, but I did use head collars. I use leads. I would use would I use spatial pressure? I guess I might do inadvertently. Even when you're teaching a dog to sit, sometimes you just use.
I've always used spatial pressure. For the most part, not always used verbal corrections. I started using verbal corrections probably, not even necessarily like verbal corrections, but like, reward markers, telling a dog when they got it wrong.
Yeah. Whereas I wouldn't even do any of that.
I didn't do that initially. Like, let's say 4 years ago when I first started training, I wouldn't have done that probably for the first year and a half, 2 years. And then I was like, maybe this is a little extreme.
Yeah.
The dog might appreciate some feedback. My own dog certainly did.
Yeah.
And I would also use negative punishment. So I would...
turn your back on them, take things away.
Yeah,
I would
end a session, or I would put a dog away, or bring them in from the garden if they were kicking off like over the fence. So we were probably using like 2-3 of the quadrants, but I think most of the controversy and most of like the debate and everything is really largely between the difference between people that will use aversive tools, so that's pieces of equipment that are designed to be uncomfortable in order to achieve.
It is a tools. It's not really a quadrants debate. It is more of a tools debate.
Because even force-free trainers, like, whether they want to admit it or not, I think most of them do. Or any of the ones that we sort of, are friendly with. You know, even just withholding a piece of food from a dog when you've asked them to do something they haven't done it, if you're like holding it back from them whilst you wait for them to do it.
Teaching a leave it.
Teaching a leave it. Like
that is in its very nature.
Negative punishment.
Yeah. That's what it's like.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely more like tools v no tools. Like, why would you want to intentionally use a piece of equipment that is designed to be aversive? And I suppose, very quick definition of aversive, it just means that the animal wants to move away from the thing, rather than something repetitive would mean that you'd want to move closer to it. If something's aversive, you want to get further away from it or turn it off.
Yeah. And it all gets really messy from there. Because even in just that one sentence, I'm thinking like when people recall their dogs and go to like touch them and fuss them, which is aversive to the dog in that moment when they're expecting something different. So
I would then that actually, by very definition, is positive punishment. You're adding something to a behaviour that is going to make it less likely to happen in the future. We see it all the time. Call the dog and they're like, oh my god, well done petting the dog, and then the dog's like, and they're probably less likely to recall next time as a result. So it does get very complicated.
It does, doesn't it, for your dog?
But again, even with all of that in mind, I think a lot of the debate and the discussion is around whether or not you're obviously those are like inadvertent. Thanks, Theo.
Theo's giving me lots of love. He does love me now, don't you, Theo? Theo wanted to use positive punishment with me, didn't you, Theo?
You did.
You wanted to use those teepees.
But I think, so a lot of the debate is around those things are like kind of inadvertent, or they're like, even things like using a lead, like, for the most part, like, force-free trainers would be like, we get that kind of isn't force-free, obviously, using a lead involves some force.
So you can be a bit reductionist with it.
Yeah.
You could be petty if you really wanted to be petty, but
most people are talking about intentionally adding aversion in order to either strengthen a behaviour, so through negative reinforcement, or to reduce or eliminate a behaviour through positive punishment.
I'm just going to check this is recording because this is one of my fears. Sorry, Theo, I know you've just relaxed as well. Yeah, we are.
Good. Don't move, Theo.
Theo, don't move because you're in a beautiful position there. You look very cute and so fat. You are so fat. He has lost some weight. Oh, he likes that. Right, so we started there was my journey.
Yeah, so GRC, like you're exposed to more balance trainers.
Exposed to more balance trainers, and I specifically went out and I was like, please can I come watch you train with an e-collar because I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of the opinion, if you don't understand something, you can't be against it.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I'm saying I'm against this, and I'm, and I think this is bad, I should at least understand a little bit more. So I actually bought a book about e-collar training, so I read that.
Was that Larry Crone?
Larry Crone, quite a few years ago. I can't say I read it in its entirety
because you weren't planning to.
I wasn't planning to use it, but I.
And it is quite a practical book, that one.
Yeah, so I skim read, and then went to see a friend of ours who does GRC, Carly at GRC UK. I went to just watch her do a training session, and it was interesting because it was a training session with a really nervous dog, and I remember being like, that feels really weird to me and a bit backwards that you would use an e-collar with a dog that's nervous. Don't really think, I just don't want you turning the TV on. So I was
You were expecting to feel uncomfortable, weren't you?
I was expecting to feel uncomfortable. I was expecting it to be a little bit more even interesting than it actually is. And it was essentially just it was the conditioning phase. So she uses the conditioning, and I remember being like, I don't understand why you would use the sensation rather than just like a kissy noise or a whistle, because I didn't understand the fact that conditioning isn't
the end.
It's your
Preparation for what happens later.
Yeah, so I didn't really understand that side of it, but I remember just being like, oh, this is actually,
Not that
the
bad.
dog is fine.
Yeah. Didn't you say that you thought the dog actually got more confident as
Oh,
the
yeah,
session
it did.
went on?
Yeah, got more confidence as the session went in, and not in a oh my goodness, I have to do what you're saying kind of thing. It was just the dog was enjoying the session just as much as it would have done if it was just using food, and she was using food it was like doing a little bit of recall-y bits, a little bit of place stuff, just different directions. It was very Larry Crone style conditioning. So yeah, I think that just kind of like simmered for me, and then.
Because how long ago was that?
It was years ago. It was before I even had Judge. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. It was maybe even more than that. Cause I'm pretty sure it was before I moved to Dorset. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe right at the beginning. Anyway, yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago. So I was like curious as to other people's methods, and then from that I was a bit like, I don't think they're as horrible as I've been led to believe. But still, I was like, I don't feel the need to use them.
Yeah.
I would never use them because what I'm doing is fine. It works.
Yeah.
And I was just happy with where I was at and what I was doing, and didn't feel the need to use aversive methods.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of that until Arlo. Like I was like, cool, other people can do that. I don't have a massive issue with it. I think there's a place for it. I don't think that it's awful.
We weren't really coming across at that. I suppose it's obviously easy to say that at the time. I think with hindsight, yes, perhaps there are obviously dogs that we can probably think of that might have benefited from it, but it wasn't like we were having, like, owners weren't disappointed with the results that they were getting. Like, I don't think.
No, this doesn't come from lack of skill, is what I think. Like our change isn't because we're like
We've done it hundreds of times with hundreds of dogs.
Our ceiling has changed.
Recalls. Our ceiling has changed.
Yeah.
We feel like we can push the needle further, and we're not just for the sake of it, but actually because we've come to see the benefits of that.
There are good and bad on both sides, but I also have increasingly witnessed fallout from terrible force-free training.
Yeah. A lot of dysfunctional
behaviours, a lot of just bad training, like just really ineffective bad training.
Like the amount of dogs that come to us that don't even have a marker.
No, we are often like the 4th or 5th trainer people have seen, because we're not cheap. We're not cheap. And the way that we work is a lot more intensive, so I think people often.
I mean, we are cheap by the hour when you work it out, the amount of support we give, but up front it doesn't appear. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, so I think we are quite often people's, not their last resort, but we are often people's last resort. Really, actually.
They've been through a few trainers.
We get a lot of dogs that are like people are wanting to send back to rescue, or we just
at the end of their tether with.
Yeah, and we've put it out there. We love working with bull breeds, obviously, but also complex cases. Like we like dogs like Theo who try to savage people and dogs. And that's the kind of dog that we like to work with.
And none of that has really changed, like you say. I think just our expectations have just maybe changed a bit, and just slightly what we value, maybe more, like even just like the order of things that we do. So like the benefits of getting a dog like off lead, we've always prioritised recall and always seen the value in dogs being like off lead. Like, I mean, even if you look back at like lots of our old like social media content, we do a lot on recall and fulfilling dogs, and get your dog off a short lead and get them onto a long line, like go to an open space, put them on a flexi lead, like let your dog explore. And it's always been like one of the areas we've looked into, like how is the dog's lifestyle, like how are their needs being met, because we obviously work off something called the layered stress model, in terms of any sort of behaviour cases that we work with, don't we? So we'll be looking at like, what is the dog's lifestyle like are their needs being met, like what restrictions do they have in their life, and for a lot of dogs like a major restriction is the lead, like is there clarity, so yeah, we've always valued off-lead freedom, but I think we would have been prepared to work at that for longer whilst doing other behaviour modification alongside it.
Yes, we kind of would have gone triggers first, off-lead freedom after we've resolved that. Whereas actually...
and gone other fulfilment, but
Yeah.
deprioritised off-lead stuff. Just like work on that on the sidelines. This is how you get good recall. But in the meantime, we're also going to do all of this, triggers, working around triggers and things that the dog finds difficult.
But by switching them, we've actually been able to do a lot more resolution.
A lot less
triggers.
work on triggers, yeah.
A lot less work on triggers because the dogs are feeling happy and more fulfilled.
Yeah.
They have more autonomy. They're making more choices. I just think
the owners are less like frustrated.
I can't imagine myself being like attached. I mean, other than I am pretty much attached to you, but like attached physically to another being all of the time,
or being only within 6 foot of a person.
Yeah, just I think like
yeah.
I think probably at this point I would just like to say that the specifics of how we work, in that we don't teach people how to use e-collars.
No.
Other than during a handover process when we have done all of the training.
Yes, which is the complex bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Once you're sort of in the maintenance phase where you're not actually expecting to use it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we can't speak for everybody else that trains. Like, we've got our own method, which we've developed, obviously, after learning from lots of different people. But, you know, we've come up with our own...
And that may change. Like,
that may change.
Everything we do may change.
Yeah.
And I hope it does.
We're fluid.
We're fluid. I hope we get better and our opinions change.
Our skills in certain areas, tweak stuff.
Yeah.
Do slightly different things with different dogs, which we already do slightly. But, actually that maintenance stage where you're not really expecting to use it, because we train the dog to be totally in control of the outcome, and the way we approach it, we want the dog to feel like their behaviour determines the outcome and they have every chance to respond to a recall, that we obviously still teach in exactly the same way. We just layer this in over the top for the reliability. The dog knows how to avoid it and therefore does, and that to us is a mark of successful training. So
what was your journey?
So I probably, similar to Bethany, like never really anti. I was never really anti e-collar. Like I could definitely.
I was very anti.
Yeah.
Yeah. But carry on.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's sometimes hard because I feel like I am quite open-minded. I don't feel I'm not super like judgy, so I don't know
you
whether
also
I
came in at a time where dog training on social media was a really big thing.
Yeah.
When I started, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm old, and
I'm older than you.
You're older than me, but I'm older
Long
in
in the
this
tooth.
field. Like I've been.
But yeah, like I don't feel like I was ever like super anti it. And I think even when I was like, oh no, like, you know, you wouldn't need that, or we wouldn't need to do that, or we wouldn't need to go down that route, I would have been able to see, and I definitely did see the value in cases, I suppose, of like extreme predation. So like, for example, and had I come across a case like that, I would have happily referred those cases on to somebody that did e-collar training, but that would be quite extreme. So it'd be in the case of like, I don't know, a dog that's, I don't know, already killed multiple sheep. It's like, I don't know, it's like 8 years old. It's in the perfect home, but they live on Dartmoor. Is there lots of free roaming sheep in Dartmoor?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I don't know. They've been rehomed to Dartmoor.
Wales.
Wales.
A lot of sheep in Wales.
Wherever.
Was a band.
E-collar's banned. So yeah, let's just at that situation, and the owner's like, we really want to keep this dog, but he is just like feral around sheep, and he's already killed 8. He's narrowly escaped being shot by a farmer, and then you're literally in a situation like, what is the best outcome for this dog? Because they've got like, I don't know, 2 to 6 years left to live. They've got a long reinforcement history of murdering sheep, and they live somewhere where sheep are just free roaming and can appear at any time, should this dog then basically stay on lead for its whole life. Also, not to mention that a lot of attacks on sheep happen when the dog has been on a lead or the owner isn't present. So those situations, like, I'd have been like, yeah, like, I can see how like a couple of aversive experiences would be beneficial for the dog overall in terms of like its welfare. It's in the perfect home, other than the fact it wants to murder sheep. So yeah, situations like that, definitely would have considered it. But yeah, I just wasn't really necessarily finding that it was something that I needed, but people weren't really asking for it.
It felt scary.
Maybe, yeah.
For me, it did.
And all of my initial training, like all of my training and all of the courses I did, and this is obviously, I don't know what you'd call it, but like,
your upbringing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like almost like a bit like algorithm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you start one area, like you might go to someone else to learn, but I feel like you're in that echo chamber. You're like, but I need to make sure their methods align with the methods that I've already been taught, even if they've got a different spin on things and they're more creative and they may be a specialist in this. The methodology, I feel, it tends to remain quite consistent from where you start. I think. Yeah, obviously GRC like has been involved in my dog training career from like pretty much the beginning. Because Bethany had already discovered it by the time we started working together, and I was obviously like new in the industry. And obviously the founder of GRC, we obviously respect hugely.
Who only just started using e-collars.
He's not big on tools. So he doesn't really use e-collars. He doesn't use prong collars. He does most of his work on like a flexi lead and a flat collar, but he is quite clear about in his mind the value of punishment. I think he thinks it affords the dog more freedom. Obviously don't want to like directly quote him. You can go and check out his Patreon if you want to see some of his stuff. He's got some excellent information on his Patreon, which is Next Level Dog Talk. But yeah, just how actually having a dog at liberty, knowing that they can't do one thing, is that not kinder than having a dog just because they can't do one thing, even though they're allowed to do 99 other things, but because you can't tell them they can't do that one thing, that dog has to have their freedom and their liberty restricted by being like confined to a place bed or in a tether or in a crate. So,
which is Arlo's, which is where you start with Arlo.
Yeah, so this is where I obviously started with Arlo. So Arlo has, and I absolutely hate this phrase when people are like, my dog's got a really good recall apart from, and then they list all these things and it's like, so your dog doesn't really have a good recall then. But I'm still going to say it. Arlo had an amazing recall with one exception. And I can't even just say it was deer. It was a very specific situation, which is flushing deer. And these would be deer that arguably he didn't even know was there. I didn't know were there. He would just be innocently chasing a bird and would come across a deer. He would disrupt the deer's movement in coming across its like path, flushing the deer, causing them to move. And that he would find so exhilarating that I wasn't able to call him back in that situation.
How many trainers have you, not for this specific issue, but you've seen a lot of trainers for Arlo, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
We're in double figures.
Oh yeah, double figures.
Mm-hmm.
Blimey, O'Reilly.
Yeah. So
you'd be like, you're the worst kind of client.
I'm literally the worst client.
And I was like, come work for me.
I am.
I don't think I knew how bad it was.
I'm a nightmare.
You've always been like, there is a missing piece, and you're constantly like, I believe we can do this.
Yeah.
Where's that missing piece?
Yeah. I'm very stubborn. I'm very determined. I want my dog to have the best life possible. And to me, the definition of insanity is like keeping doing the same thing or slight variations of the same thing and expecting a different result.
Which is basically what you did.
Which is basically what I did. To be honest, like it didn't really become a major issue until I lived here. So I moved from London to Dorset, and I was actually around quite a lot of deer when I lived in London because we live near the Royal Parks. But the deer in the Royal Parks, so like Bishop Park, Richmond Park, are like the horses here. They're not flighty. Like they don't just pop up out of nowhere. Like
they don't run if they see a dog.
If they see a dog. Like they're quite boring. So I didn't actually have I didn't really have an issue back home in London. This is my home now. So then I moved here, and again, didn't have an issue initially. I think, to be honest, like, it was just something that he obviously happened across, did it a couple of times, and just fucking loved it.
Yeah.
That is literally the long and short of it.
Yeah.
And
he was just like, this is literally
this is amazing
thing.
And I think that like one of the frustrating things about it was like the turmoil in my head, like, is it that big a deal? Which might sound mad, but obviously where we live, like, and the kind of walks that I go on, because I'm a bloody loner, like I'm an introvert, I do not want to see many other people on my walks. I go to quiet walks. He doesn't chase for long. And again, you know, a lot of people were saying to me, like, I had advice from a training that was like, based on the situation, like having seen a video of it or having my explanation of it, was like, he's not that committed, like, because he's not chasing it to actually bring it down. Like, you can, if he's on a straight line chase where you can literally see the moment he gives up, and he's still only that far from the deer. Like, he could catch, he might have catch it, but he's just like,
mummy.
yeah, he then suddenly stops, he looks back, sees how far away I am, and he's like, oh, I'll go back now then.
Yeah.
And I think that conception that, like, or misconception that because he's not in it for the actual kill and the takedown, that it should then be possible to get a really good recall in that situation, I think just misses the point that he just really likes the thrill and
the amount of ground he covers
in this very short space of time, and whether or not he's actually got murderous intent, he still clearly finds it very exhilarating.
It's not about the deer.
And thrilling. It's not about the deer. He just loves the bloody flush and the chase.
And for you, it's not about the deer. I mean, you obviously don't want him killing things, but it's not about the deer. It's about.
Like, I don't care if I would rather he didn't chase deer. I think chasing game is dangerous. Like, I don't really want to scare the deer.
Yeah.
But, like, if I'm being completely honest, like, I'm not that bothered. Like, if a dog chases the old deer, as long as you can call them back, like, that's the issue. Yeah. And so and then you speak to a lot of people. You confide in your friends. You speak to other trainers about it, and a lot of people were like to me, "Oh yeah, my dog does that." And I'm like, "Do they come back when they're called though?" "Yeah, when they're ready." And I'm like, if you know my personality, I'm like, what the hell? So then I tried to go with that for a little bit, and I was like, I'm just going to live and let live. Like, I'm sure he'll be fine. Like,
Was that wasn't first though? You went back.
No, that wasn't first. That
was last.
Yeah, that was last.
First, you went.
I went back to Longline for 6 months.
Yeah.
And like, even in that 6 months, there was like a couple of occasions where I'm like, I'll drop the long line here because like we're all safe, and then you would get like videos of me like sitting on the floor crying in a field. So I was like, literally, like,
he's done it again.
Yeah, and just like,
and it wasn't that often.
No, it really wasn't. But actually, the problem became, and I guess this is like,
we're all over the place.
You
have to bear with us. I've had 3.5 hours sleep. My van got broken into. We walked for about over 17 miles.
We haven't had a day off since August.
We're tired, so you're gonna have to bear with. But we need to.
Yes, we're just chaotic people. What was I saying?
You basically went back to being on a long line.
Sorry, what's that? Yeah, so actually, what I then found was that I found like if I was then trusting him in certain situations, because this was such a rarity, it was probably happening on like 1 in
20,
even less than initially like 1 in 50 walks. If you think, walks twice a day, 7 days a week, whatever. His dog walker has walked in once a week for, I don't know, 8 months by this point. Never had an issue with him. Obviously, law of like probability, I'm obviously walking him more, so I'm obviously the problem. But it was quite rare. But anyways, and then so I put him back on a long line. I did loads of extra training with him, and then it was almost like whenever I did drop the long line, it would happen. And
the extra training though was insane.
Oh my god, it was like literally.
He was horrible to walk.
He was horrible.
And you were horrible to walk with.
Yeah, he was basically, he was on a long line.
Fast.
Because I dropped it a few times, I was then like at the point, and it would always happen when I dropped the long line, even though it wasn't happening when he was totally off the lead this much. But I think what actually happened was that he was feeling quite suppressed.
Yeah.
So then it got to the point where he was like out looking for it. Because you've got to think, if he's being held on a long line all of the time and not running around, whizzing around like he normally does, because he is a runner. Like, I have never met a dog that loves, I can't say I've never met a dog, but there are very few dogs that like running the way that he runs just for the joy of running alone.
He loves running.
Running for running's sake. So he's not even necessarily chasing it. So he's not getting that. He's not chasing anything, which means he's not chasing birds, he's not chasing squirrels, he's not chasing rabbits, he's not chasing scent, all because I'm not letting him chase deer. So he's then not chasing anything. So then it's like to the point that he's actually a maniac when I do drop the lead. He's not. Like, he's still being a good boy and he's coming back most of the time. But it's almost like he's then more looking for it, if I'm honest. So that happens. Then I was like, well, that's it. Like, I can't drop the lead. So then I was like basically holding the lead all the time.
You got a dodgy knee.
Oh my god, my knee. So I've had like an on and off like funny runner's knee, I think they call it, for years. But since COVID, when I tried to do Couch 5K, what the hell? But it totally gone. And actually through walking, and I'm trying to keep up with Arlo's pace. So he's on a 10-metre long line. He obviously is a fast walker. He's used to running around on walks. Like he doesn't really walk, does he? Let's face it. Even when he's walking, he's fucking trotting.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously trying to keep up with him. I don't want him to keep like, you know, hitting the end of the long line, having to be called back or waiting for him to yield to the pressure. So I'm walking faster than I should be really to try and keep up with him so that he doesn't feel frustrated. I'm like walking through the most ridiculous terrain. I'm just being dragged through like bushes and everything, like through puddles that are literally coming up to my nether regions. Like I'm basically doing everything I can to try and make him feel as least frustrated as possible.
Whilst also doing a lot of differential reinforcement.
A lot of differential
training.
I did tattle training.
To the point where if he saw like a leaf,
substitution training, he was tattling on leaves, he was tattling on cars. Tattle training is basically to teach the dog to tell you that they've seen something in the environment. It might work for some dogs. For Arlo, it literally made him, it was like...
Made him neurotic.
Neurotic was the word I was looking for, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it would come then. So there would be like a car that would go past in the distance and he would look at the car and he would spin around to me to be like, I saw a car. And it's just like, I don't want to sensitise you to all these things that you actually don't give a shit about. Like, you've never given a shit about that. Like, even horses that you didn't give a shit about. Like, all these things that you didn't care about, a leaf falling, the wind changing direction.
But you still have to kind of capture those moments because you're like, what if he is
that might be tattling because he's seen a deer or there's a deer around that corner. So you have to capture all of them. So I did all of that, but ultimately, after 6 months of doing all of that, I did more predation substitution stuff. I tried to play. I recalled him every time he didn't check in with me for 20 seconds. I followed a lot.
Also pre-macked. So you've done a lot of checking in with me, sending him to things like
sending him to chase things after a check-in with me. I had done I could recall him off what I would describe as like his favourite activity in the world, like GRC. Like I can recall him off like hanging on a spring pole, like in the air. I can send him to Bethany on a bite suit and I can recall him when he's this far from hitting the sleeve and he will turn on a dime and come back to me. Like, his recall was amazing, and ultimately all of the stuff that I actually ended up doing, if I'm honest, actually eroded his recall.
And made him miserable.
He was miserable, and it wasn't like he wasn't recalling, but it was like his recalls became, the only word I can describe it is like eye-rolly. Like, it became like that. He put on weight.
He got real fat.
Tell you what else happened.
Stopped wanting to go for walks.
His gait.
Yes. Yeah.
His gait. He ended up having to have like scans. He went to see a physio, and ultimately, since he's been off the lead, his gait is basically just normal now. It's bizarre, and I can only think that a lot of that was actually due to stress. Like, he's quite a highly strung dog. I think it was like how do you pronounce it? Like myofascial
and
stuff.
Probably the walking that he was doing was not his normal pace.
Not pace he found comfortable.
Yeah, because you had to be at the other end of it, and he is the kind of guy that's always at the end of
I know. So when people say, "Oh, if your dog pulls on the lead, just use a longer lead," it's like, okay,
you'll just find more length.
Have you ever trained dogs that no matter what length of lead you put them on, they're going to find themselves at the end of it? That's my dog anyway. Yeah. So anyway, so done all of this. Where did I get to?
He'd stopped wanting to go for walks.
He stopped wanting to go for walks.
He would like hide at the top.
Bear in mind he's 4, so I've had this dog for 4 years. I've had him since he was 8 weeks old. He has never not wanted to go on a walk, and nor has he ever wanted to go home from a walk. No. Like, you know, when somebody be like, "Oh, I think he's had enough now." That's not my dog. So, and I wasn't even putting the long line on inside the house. It was just in my car. And he started, when I got to the front door, like to go for the walk, he started running up to the top of the stairs and just lying down at the top of the stairs and not wanting to go on a walk.
He did that with the dog walker as well.
And he started doing it with the dog walker as well, and she pointed to obviously not here when she's there, but... and
he wanted to get back to the car, stopped wanting to take food on a walk, which is unlike
unheard of, yeah.
His play drive went down, he didn't really want to play. He just was depressed, basically.
He was depressed.
And you used to send me... Didn't he start doing like shivering... thing as well? It would randomly start trembling. Like, he was waking up more in the night.
Yeah.
He was more sound sensitive. Like, there were just loads of things going on at the same time you had him back on long line that haven't happened since he's been off lead.
Yeah.
Right, get to the crux of it. What happened the day you decided?
So basically, I was like, I've done 6 months of this. I am bored shitless of this. Like, this is just neurotic.
I'm gonna put my phone on. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna put my phone on airplane mode so that if somebody calls me, it doesn't ruin.
Are you starting to think your mum and dad might be like,
Yeah.
where are you?
Yeah, someone's gonna call me.
Yeah. So I think I went to like a farmer's field. I think you said you'd had this like. There was this really big farmer's field with really good visibility.
Yeah.
And when you went, I didn't see any deer there. Ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Well,
how we laughed.
How we laughed.
So, went to the farmer's field and I was just like, okay, the visibility is really good. So, let Arlo off the lead. I was like, he really needs to have a run. And also, just point out that I was booking and paying for secure fields in this time as well, so he could off the lead. He is bored shitless in a secure field.
He hates a secure field.
He hates a secure field. So anyway, so visibility is really good. I'm like, okay, like look safe, blah, blah, blah. He's whizzing around, having a great time, chasing birds, blah, blah, blah. I do see deer, message Bethany like, there are fucking deer in this field.
Your deerdar.
My deerdar
is off the charts. You have to spell it.
But yeah, I think there were literally like 4 separate situations where I saw deer, recalled him from deer. Again, this wasn't really our issue.
No.
It's very specific, deer flashing. Anyway, so when we've done this whole walk, we're just literally getting back to the car. I guess we're, 3 minutes from the car, let's say. So I'm walking towards the car. Arlo's like off to my left chasing a bird. And there is some long grass to the left, but it is very, very flat. However, the deer are the same colour as this, like, whatever the terrain is. And there are obviously 2 deer lying down in that long grass, and Arlo is genuinely chasing a bird. And then he stumbles across the deer. And he flushes the deer, and both the deer run, and one deer runs towards the hedge line, like at the back that goes kind of into a foresty bit, and the other deer runs for, you probably guessed it, through the hedgerow off to the side and across the 60-mile-per-hour road, with Arlo, who follows it over the 60-mile-per-hour road. I'm like, I also whistle trained him in all this time as well, by the way. Did that with bacon, like really high value stuff, like his raw food. I went back to existentially feeding him his raw food, didn't I? Oh, God. Anyway, so I've done all this.
Gloved up.
I was gloved up and every
Pouch
walk.
glove.
Hadn't done that for a couple of years. I was like, bring the big guns back out. Anyway, so whistle recall, sorry, the reason that was relevant is because I was like, I just knew I wasn't going to get him back. And I was like, I don't really want to waste a whistle recall because actually he might give up the chase when the dog goes through the hedgerow. And there's a point where he gets to the hedgerow and I'm like, I think he's going to follow it after. This is my only chance to use the whistle before he's out of sight. I whistled him. It's literally like he hadn't heard anything at all. He didn't slow down. He didn't twitch. Literally nothing. Straight after deer, over the 60-mile-per-hour road. And then in true Arlo style, because he don't chase for that long. By the way, I've got all this on video if anyone wants to see it. I'm more than happy to send it to you. In true Arlo fashion, within about 30 seconds, he appears back the same way that he ran, comes back through the hedgerow, which basically means he got bored of chasing the deer, but not before he'd crossed the 60-mile-per-hour road after the deer, and then crossed the 60-mile-per-hour road again on the way back to the deer. And then he runs up to me, he's like, oh, there you are, Mum. And I'm like, fucking hell. And you can literally hear me say in the video, that's it, mate, I've had enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing else left for it, really. We're going to have to equally train you. I think I say something like, I think the fairest thing to do, or the kindest thing to do, is actually just to equally train you.
Yeah.
And then I came home, and I messaged you.
Yeah. Sent me the video.
I sent you the video, and I said, I'm sorry, mate, I hope you don't disown me, but I'm equally training, aren't I?
Yeah.
And you said...
I can't remember. Go for it.
You said, I think it's the right
Okay,
choice.
sorry. Yeah, and I genuinely...
And then I was like, thank God my best friend's not going to, like, hate me, and yeah. We knew it was going to be
We had discussed
tricky.
it before.
Yeah, I'd considered it a couple of times. I think before the 6 months back in the long line, it crossed my mind.
But it just felt like such a step. You considered like vibrate collars, and you were like,
yeah,
maybe I'll do that.
I just feel like I just knew it wouldn't work. My instinct was right.
Yeah. And
I know a vibrate collar wouldn't have worked because when I did use the e-collar, it took quite a lot to stop him chasing the deer.
And being back on lead, I mean, as we've kind of discussed over that 6 months, was not an option. Being a full-time on-lead dog is not
an option for this dog.
It's not in Arlo's best interest.
Bear in mind, we also have a running mill that he can access on our private land every day of the week if he wants. So I'm like trying to give him access to run it's not the same for him. He likes running around in nature.
He just loves bounding
Just a
around,
nature
chasing
boy.
butterflies, like
He does.
sniffing new things, like
Chasing birds.
chasing birds. Yeah, he loves being free.
Just that kind of dog.
He's that kind of guy. So then you did it.
So I did that in April. Yeah, I literally ordered it the same day, I think. Did a lot of research, but like probably research like that would take someone else maybe 2 months. It took me like 2 nights because I'm just not normal. So I was just basically up all night, literally doing everything. I was like listening to every podcast on double speed.
You've written out your notes, all your plans, your daily
itinerary, what we were going to do.
Template. You were. I was like, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You cried when you first put it on him?
I cried. I was like, it looks so ugly. I hate it.
And you've cried pretty much every time you had to use it initially?
Yeah, I did cry every time I used it. Yeah. Even though he was like immediately over it.
Yeah. You just.
Yeah. I just don't like. I still feel a little bit like that now. Like I would rather, like, if there was an option, if I thought I could achieve the same results and the same what we value in terms of welfare for the dog without aversion, then obviously I would. But I guess I think for a lot of dogs that have got that sort of external drive, I ultimately think that you are going to hit a ceiling with it. And I don't know whether for some dogs the fallout of that is quite so catastrophic. But I definitely we have met a lot of dogs where it is similar, like to the Arlo vibes, like where you can just tell that's what they need, and you feel like it would have a positive, like such a positive knock-on effect on all of that other behaviour.
Yeah. And I say this, we've spoken about this before. Like I have Judge, who's an exempt pit bull.
Yeah, so Bethany could be really like selfish about it, like, you know, well, my dog.
Look, my dog has to stay on lead,
so I don't see the benefit.
Yeah,
she's not.
But I think like Judge would love to be off lead.
Yeah,
he'd love it if he could actually
run
and actually pick up those sticks through his muzzle. He would love to be able to do that. Yeah. So it's a sacrifice for him. Like, he obviously hasn't really known any difference. So I do think there's like that slight.
Yeah.
And he's got access to our private land now, and like we do GRC and stuff. But he's as happy as he possibly can be within the circumstances that we're in. Yeah. But it is I know he'd be happier and more fulfilled if he were off lead. Yeah. So yeah, completed it in April, and completed it, mate. Completed it. I just did it, and then where are we now? October. Yeah, I don't know what day it is. Is it October? It is October. End of October. I haven't needed it. I haven't needed it on a recall since May. So I'd say actually yesterday you probably could have done. I probably could have done yesterday actually, but I just don't even have the. Well, it just wasn't like in my hands, or it's not switched on. And he didn't actually chase, and he did come back. He didn't chase, and there was a din. I called him, and he was like, yeah. It took him like 2 seconds to turn around and come back, which for most people is like pretty good, but his recall normally is like so I haven't basically so obviously I had to. There was a few basically aversive experiences, I think 3, and they all happened within 2 weeks basically, and then that was all at the end of April. And we went together back to that field where it happened because his recall is so good. We had to set up the exact situation. It wasn't setting it up. We weren't like, right, dear. Yeah, no. We had to kind of find an opportunity, because what I didn't want is because I know it's such a specific situation, I didn't want to be caught on the fly. Yeah. Also, you have to have a really clear view of your dog, like when you're planning to. What if you're planning to use an e-collar, because you need to see the moment you call them, are they turning around to come back to you or are they not, because that obviously is going to determine whether or not you're going to use the e-collar. So I did need quite a specific setup, because I think that was the other issue that I was having in trying to do all of this stuff on the long line, is that I couldn't simulate the one situation that I was actually struggling with, because he didn't get himself in those situations when he was on the long line, because this is all about he's whizzing around having a good time and he flushes, and that doesn't happen when he's on the long line. And if he'd have hit the end of the lead, he would have come back. Because he knows that there's no hope of chasing. Yeah, exactly. So it's just totally different. When dogs are on lead and people are showing off their recall from prey, for me it doesn't stick. Yeah, it doesn't show much. No, because there's no hope for the dog. They know they're on a lead. Or you see, so like that don't impress them much. Yeah, the dog knows for ones.
Or like it's like something that's really still in the distance, and it's like, I get all of it, and I'm not saying it's not an achievement, and there are obviously steps to get to the end goal, but are you telling me that if your dog was already running and that deer either ran out in front of them and they were closer to the deer than they were to you, you're going to get a recall like that? With some dogs, obviously you will, but not with all.
No.
And also, like, you know, some videos that you see where like people are recalling, I don't know, like from birds, but the bird has like already flown and gone away. So the dog is like already at the point where they're like, oh, I'm not going to get it now. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I get it.
It's all an achievement, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
I
I could literally show you,
could make
so many videos of Arlo completely off lead with deer running and him recalling from them. Like,
because that wasn't his problem.
That wasn't his problem. So,
yeah. Could have made him look very good and being like, positive reinforcement only.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, there was obviously a while where I thought I would get there. And I used to always like walk him in a new place in like with where I live now. The first 2 walks I'd keep him on a long line, it would be dropped. And if I didn't have to use the long line for 2 walks, then he would go sort of off lead in that place on the third, and I sort of just, that's how I sort of did it. And it did work well for the most part, but yeah, there was always just one occasion where it worked like until it didn't.
And do you keep a dog on lead for 100% of their walks for a 5% problem?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it was a welfare ethical spectrum
decision.
I absolutely think you made the right decision.
So 3 adverse experiences over the course of 2 weeks, whilst you sort of sussed out, right, okay, this is how I avoid this thing. I just basically come out when I'm called. And yeah, now end of October, and I've not used it since. Do I think Arlo walks around like he's got a gun to his head, wondering when he's going to receive an electric stim? No, because he doesn't receive non-contingent
that's the thing
stimulation. So that is key for us. Like I said, we can't comment on how other people train. We only train with contingent use, so the dog is taught behaviour to a really, really high standard through as much motivation as we possibly can, and then the obligation essentially is I suppose achieved through the use of the e-collar, so the dog is able to avoid it altogether.
Yeah.
If they so wish.
Yeah. So we primarily use the e-collar for recall.
Yeah.
And we would use it in other circumstances where we thought it was appropriate, but it's all contingent.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Dog has every chance to avoid it. I know, even amongst, you know, people that use the e-collar, there's debate on like the best way to use it.
I didn't realise.
But we're not going to go into all of that.
We're not going to.
We need like a part 10 if we.
Yeah, we would.
What else do we want to?
Well, I guess
e-collar wise,
we're not necessarily e-collar. We've had a lot of flack for dog going on a prong. So I don't know if you want to address that.
Yeah, I would like to, particularly Ralph.
Yeah. One of our latest boarding trains.
Yeah. So Ralph came to us on a prong collar. So just to give a little bit of background, Ralph, I'd say was human and dog aggressive, and he lives on a high street in a flat at the basement of a shop.
Owner doesn't drive.
In Camden, in northwest London. Owner doesn't drive, and there's very limited in terms of green space around there.
Highly populated
area. And he has a problem both with walking past people and dogs. And did have a problem. And will lunge and bite. And we did thoroughly test that, and unfortunately found that he would bite. So his owner was walking him muzzled, and she was walking him on a prong collar, which was her own decision. When I did initially go to spend time with him when Ralph was a little bit younger, I did a couple of sessions when I still lived in London. He was on like a collar and a harness, but I think, he was just one of those dogs where he didn't get any better, like in his environment. Like you would think most dogs would get used to stuff, like living. Yeah. Like he'd been there since a puppy, but he just became more and more sensitised to everything and just struggled more and more. And he obviously got bigger and was a big boy. And his owner contacted me saying like, yeah, I would really like to do a board and train. We didn't offer the service at that time, but she was looking at various places and she just couldn't really find what she was looking for. We obviously put our heads together and figured out a way that we could start to offer board and trains because we had a bit of interest in it, not only from Ralph's own, but a few other people. And she said that at that time she was walking in muzzled and she was walking on a prong. She felt like she had more control. I mean, she weighs like 8 stone. What did Ralph weigh? Like 40 when he came to us. Yeah, 40 kg, not 40 stone. So we knew that when he came to us. And obviously when he came to us, we took it off, like, because that's not where we were obviously going to start with the dog, even if we were going to use a prong, which we weren't necessarily planning to. And we just swapped him onto a martingale, didn't we, for safety.
Because he was a panicker.
Yeah, he was
so
a panicker.
If he heard a loud noise or anything, he would try and back out of any equipment and run away.
You're right, yeah.
So we were like, use the martingale because we were like, we need to make sure that he's not able to run away if he panics.
Yeah. And Ralph was with us for 6 weeks. And he just developed, like, I'd already picked up gait issues when I went to see him and his owner when he was younger. But unfortunately, because he couldn't be seen by the vet because he was so aggressive, his owners had sent videos of Ralph's gait to a vet, I think that she'd used before, and they had in a different country, and they had said that nothing was wrong. So then obviously he came to us. I think initially, like, obviously his gait's not perfect.
We discussed pain trial even on our assessment call.
Yeah, can we get him on a pain trial before he starts? But obviously no vet's going to prescribe that because they haven't seen the dog, la-di-da-di-da.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he comes to us, as soon as we basically start actually working him, like playing with him or socialising with other dogs, he was literally going lame after literally a minute.
When we were doing recall,
even a recall between the two of us, like literally going lame within 1 to 2 minutes of like proper exercise. So we went to the vets twice, we had a physio out to see him twice.
We did a neuro
We
exam.
performed a neurological exam because obviously we didn't want the vets to do it. The vet let us do it and they observed. And we got him like a tentative like diagnosis of essentially IVDD. So he's got a partially herniated disc in between his shoulder blades, the vet believes.
Thoracic spine.
So it would need to be confirmed by an MRI, but we were told that we obviously then had to take things really easy, no play, walks on a short lead, to which we had a conversation with the vet.
I wonder if they're just going to be hearing Theo snoring.
So we had a conversation with the vet about whether or not we would ever be able to walk him on a long line, because our concern was that we obviously didn't want to put him on a prong because he wasn't really trained. He wasn't conditioned to a prong. He wasn't properly trained in how to yield to pressure. Then we've obviously got a dog that we think is, and we know is sore, and we're like, we don't obviously want to use aversive equipment on a dog that's sore, even if the owner gave him to us on aversive equipment. However, we've got this problem that on a short lead and not on a prong, he and when I, God, he
But the
swims.
more confident he got,
And the more confident he got, the more he pulled.
Because we weren't really focused on like training, training
it was
positions
more
or anything.
rehab. Like,
it was like make him feel happy,
him feel amazing.
And so we made him feel amazing, and he was like, right, everything's amazing. I want to get there as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So he just the better he felt about the world, the more he was pulling.
And he was literally swimming.
Yeah, like, he would drag along the floor.
Any equipment we put him in.
Yeah, and we're training him to, we're teaching him to walk nice and early. We're not just relying on equipment. We're trying to teach him to do that. But it for Ralph, it was like his brain is obviously so taken up with chronic pain that there wasn't much room for learning. He had to learn how to learn.
Even teaching him a marker, which normally takes us 3 days, 2 to 3 days, took 3 weeks.
And I still don't fully.
So it was like super reflexive with that response, whiplash response in every situation.
So we kind of training positions and stuff wasn't really our focus. It was about making him feel happy. The happier he felt, the more he tried to pull. So we ended up in this.
Just not back to the van, just forwards to everything. In life.
Now he was like,
let me sniff that. Let me jump on that bench. Let me go say hi to that dog. I want to sniff that person.
He just wanted to live his best life, bless him. And initially we were going to work on recall and potentially
probably equal training. He did a really high prey drive.
A really high play drive and he just needed, for where he lived, he needed a reliable recall.
And he needed some more autonomy in his life. He'd only ever been walked on a 6-foot lead, so he's never been more than 6 foot away from a human being.
Yeah.
So we just felt for him and his confidence, that having that autonomy and making more decisions that he would be doing, like off the lead, would be good for him.
But due to the fact that we had this diagnosis, we knew he was in chronic pain, he clearly was lame.
We didn't feel like he had the cognition,
No,
one, for the e-collar training, and two, he wouldn't be suitable for off lead because of how lame he was.
Yeah,
so
but we didn't want to use an e-collar in any sense because we knew he was in chronic pain. So all of those people that have been messaging us, despite the dog's health status and owner history, all of that, blah blah blah, we are still the same trainers we were however long ago. Like, we have still got the same skill set, we have just added to that skill set.
Yeah. So the vet agreed that we could walk him on a long line.
Yeah.
Because he pulls, because she said that the worst thing for him to do would be to pull.
Yeah.
So we know that, so we're like, well, could we walk him on a long line then, because he pulls so bad on a short lead. She was like, if he walks nicer on a long line, like, we'll plod more, like, and not be straining and pulling into a lead, then yes, walk him on a long line.
But that, you cannot walk a dog on a long line through a busy high street.
You
so
can't.
While we were walking him, we would have him on a long line or a flexi, just on a collar or a harness.
Yeah, started on the martingale, then we were like, because he hasn't, like, necessarily got the ability to, like, steady himself before he hits the end of the lead, and we really didn't want him hitting the end of the lead on any collar, so we then swapped that to a harness. So if he was on a flexi or a long line, it would be on a harness.
Yeah.
And then we spoke to our physio, and we were like, what do we do when we're walking on a short lead? Yeah. And he hasn't got the skill set at the moment to, like, walk nicely, to heel, like, he just hasn't got the cognition at the moment to...
He was a bit dim.
He was just a little bit dim, and the brain cells he did have was very busy.
Yeah.
And we did actually make some decent progress in his training probably in the last week, but you've got to think, we're 5 weeks into this programme now, and we've still got to send this dog back home. And... You know, I can't.
The more confident he was getting, the worse his lead skills were getting. So by the time he was that confident and he was happy, we didn't have the time
in a position to learn. We didn't have time to do the obedience and proof all of it. And then do we hand a dog back to an owner on a harness when she was quite happy using a prong?
And I don't think she wouldn't be able to hold
that
it back.
Isn't walking well. Like, so then we were like, right, lesser of two evils. Shall we then keep him on the prong when he's on a short lead, because he won't drag. We are under no illusion that he will not drag on a prong because it's not comfortable to drag. Like, I don't.
His prong even had plastic.
It had plastic caps on it. It wasn't ours. So anyway. But like, we're not stupid. Like, we get it. Like, we understand that he's pulling less on a prong because it's less comfortable to do so. But I'm not mad about that, because I'd rather he doesn't feel particularly comfortable in pulling, so that he doesn't rupture the partially herniated disc in his spine and go paralysed in all 4 limbs. Yeah. So now we're in this tricky situation where it's like, do we post only, like, highlights? Do we not be honest about the fact that he's got a health condition? Or every time we post something, do we have to
do this
and outline every single, like, tiny step behind, like, in our thought process and our decision making?
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fine to ask us a question like, oh, just out of interest, like, were you, like, concerned at all about using a prong given his diagnosis for IBDD? Like, we're fine, like, with that. But it's like the the accusations and the judgment, and
we don't like people insulting our intelligence, because we are both intelligent ladies. Yeah. And it's not nice
questioning our
love of dogs.
Our love of dogs,
particularly our love of bull breeds. And I'm sure whoever's listening, if you're listening, you'll understand.
Yeah.
where I'm
That's
coming
very
from.
hurtful.
That was very hurtful.
Yeah.
Because we have also had people reach out who have essentially said, kind of, don't like that you're balanced, but okay, well, you're lessening the pool for us then. You're widening the pool of force-free.
Yeah, I'm unique
of
now.
Clients. Yeah, I'm now unique because I'll work with bull
and
breeds and I don't use tools.
And we don't want it to be an egotistical.
No, we were doing well. We were doing very well.
Yeah, we were.
We could have carried
we didn't need
on.
To do this.
Not rock the boat. I would have been happier. I hate conflict. Like, I hate this. I hate dreading opening my phone to be like, who's gonna...
Especially when someone messages at like 10 o'clock at night, like essays.
Yeah,
like,
please don't message us at 10 o'clock at night, because
we won't sleep.
We won't sleep. And then I normally, if I see it in the morning, I can't get back to sleep, I'll be stressing about it. Like, yeah, please just keep keep your angry messages between normal working hours.
Yeah.
So we can at least be together, and then we can vent about it, and then come back with something reasonable.
Or just come with some, like, at least some warmth and some curiosity.
Yeah, we're not going to be converted.
I highly doubt it.
Because, and it's not...
You've got to remember, we've done it the other way for a very, very, very long time.
And it's not that I'm now closed-minded.
No.
If there was genuinely a better way that somebody showed, like, I'm always open to learning, always. I am genuinely thinking about the dogs.
I think we're not going to be converted probably by the same, like, rhetoric.
No. And I think
we've
force-free training's been lied
all of
to.
that.
We've been lied to. It's an ideology. It's not even an actual. It's not a methodology. It's an ideology. It is cult-like, in that if you go against the grain, if you even question things, even in my degree, you couldn't even. Like, it wasn't even mentioned. It was literally not even mentioned, other than it being terrible, abusive, unethical. Just don't even ask questions about it. I think if people even ask questions about it, it was
work, or they're handing people back their money, or saying, well, I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can do for you. And they know full well that dog would be happiest off the lead, but because they're obviously not willing to use other methods, those owners are then just like, okay, well, then we're stuck.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we hadn't found ourselves in that position. I can think of, like, in the last few years, since I've been involved.
But I just think our expectations were lower. So when we were giving our honest opinion on where the people could get to, we could get them to that point, but we could now probably get them further.
Yeah. And I really feel like if we couldn't have helped somebody, we would have referred them on to an e-collar trainer. For sure.
Yeah, I've seen.
But now we don't need to.
No, we don't need to. I've seen a lot of dogs badly let down by force-free training, and I am talking more kind of towards the radical side of force-free, of scatter feeding, distraction, like ultra management, like the insanity of not even saying not even like saying no to a dog, but not even telling them they can't do something or stopping them from doing stuff, like just allowing dogs too much choice because you're so worried about using kind of any pressure. I remember the first time I told somebody to, like, stand on a dog's lead, they were horrified because it was limiting the dog's choice. I was like, but that dog is getting more and more and more wound up, and you're not giving them anywhere to put it. So if you need them to chill, just, like, stand on the lead. Actually limit their choices, makes them feel happier sometimes.
I would love my choices to be limited sometimes.
Yeah. So, like, limiting choice, and that's part of, like, I think our training is just now so intuitive.
Yeah.
It feels right. And knowing when to limit choices and when to give more choice and
more autonomy, more freedom, and allowing dogs more opportunity to be at liberty. Yeah. I think that's what everybody wants. They want a dog that behaves well at liberty, and sometimes to get that, you do have to take some choices off the table. You can do 99 things, you can't do that, rather than saying, here, can you please do all these 99 things that I really don't care about, just so you don't do that one thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think one of the most common things that we see thrown around, which I'm not gonna, it just makes me a bit like, it's like, well, duh. Like, positive reinforcement works for any animal. Like, yes, because if it didn't, then it wouldn't be positive reinforcement. Like, by its very definition, then obviously it is. But it very much assumes that you're living in a vacuum. Like, you don't live in a laboratory with your dog, and you as your dog's handler, owner or trainer, are not the only thing responsible for dishing out positive reinforcement. Like, the environment is offering your dog positive reinforcement all the time.
Yeah.
And if every dog has a hierarchy.
And it's like the whole zoo animal thing.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they would come and offer you their arm for a blood test if they had a fucking deer running across, like, a live prey?
Yeah.
With that lion.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the lion would come and
yeah,
watch that deer or antelope or whatever, and come and offer you their arm? Yeah. No, of course they fucking wouldn't.
Yeah.
Even if you taught them, come and offering me your arm and then you can go and chase it, like pre-mac it. Not going to happen. They're just going to go.
And that's the thing. If you are trying to subscribe to that, which we never have, as we're saying, we've never just stuck to one quadrant. The change now is that we are now willing to use aversive tools where necessary. But the problem with trying to just do everything by positive reinforcement, thinking that you're being kinder to the animal, it's in order for that to work, you have to be solely in charge of all reinforcement your dog accesses, which means you have to use a lot of management because you can't, I don't know, ask your dog to come back to you and they're like, nah, see ya, and then go and get a sniff. Like, you can think you're offering your dog positive reinforcement, but the positive reinforcement in that situation is your dog getting to the sniff. Like, there's just kicking off at dogs and people, or chasing animals. I don't know, pulling on the lead, like, because they really want to get to something. I don't know. I just think unless you're living in a vacuum with your dog, you're not going to be able to train a dog solely using positive reinforcement.
You can, but not reliably.
But not reliably, and not without the detriment of some of that dog's like freedom and liberty, and also the owner's sanity. So anyway, I mean, we could literally go on and on and on. If people do want a part 2, like, there's a million other things that we could probably...
if people have thoughtful questions.
Thoughtful, nice questions, that'd be nice.
Don't be horrid, or Libby will post you on our stories.
Oh yeah, she's rude, really bloody rude.
If you're rude,
also she had 24 hours to retract and apologise following your voice note.
Yeah, I did send it.
And she did not. And then I was like, I'm going to have a little look at your page. And then I'm like, you use head collars. What are you going on about?
And half your friends are bad.
And half your, you're like, got lots of friends on your Instagram that we know.
Yeah, so Libby will stalk you.
I'm not going to call people out for asking questions. I'm not a bitch. But this was a very rude comment. Yeah. And Bethany replied a voice note saying how hurt she was, basically, at the message. Like,
I don't know if I was hurt at that one. I was
angry. You did. You sounded really like...
I was like, oh, for goodness sake.
Like, I don't know what you want.
I don't know what you... Yeah, you're not even asking me a question. I don't know what you want from me.
And you just didn't reply.
I can give you... give you a response, but it's you're not asking me any questions. So, yeah, more than welcome to ask us questions, and we will answer them. But we've got to go to bed. So yeah, thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
How long has it been?
I don't know, about an hour maybe.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad. And yeah, we could talk. We have been talking about this for months and months and months and months, and that is the thing, that we did not come to this decision lightly. But when we've stepped into that decision and actually started and explored it, it definitely feels like the right decision. And I love dogs just as much as I always have and always will. I love all breeds. And I just think we're just here to help
facilitate making their lives as good as they possibly can be.
Yeah. And sometimes
it doesn't look like what you think that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks all.
Thanks.
So